Welcome, everyone, to this month's Global MediClearing. Today, we are talking about freedom. We're talking about freedom. Got some? Would you like some freedom? That seems to be the one of the number one things that people are to striving after today is finding true freedom. We feel so oppressed by these uh, ener- planetary energies that are oppressing everyone, pushing everyone down. So today we're going to be looking at all the ways that we feel pushed down and oppressed by these planetary energies. And then also knowing that these 1% and reptilian energies are actually a manifestation of the global consciousness. That's one thing we're going to work on today. And this is going to be the first time I've ever done this where I've focused on clearing and healing global consciousness. And so we're going to just see what happens with that. And the more that global consciousness can step up and out of that fear and the anger and all the worry and anxiety, the less fuel there will be to feed the beast. So this 1% reptilian energies, while they are a manifestation of the global consciousness, they also have to feed themselves energetically. And since they're cut off from pure source energy, they do that by stirring up these darker negative energies of fear and worry and anxiety and of course all the heinous things that are being done with children, which is the whole purpose and impetus behind the all the pedophile rings. And so that's all fueled by fear and terror, etc. So we won't go there, but we will um, look at all the things today that are interfering, that are impeding our freedom. So we're going to go through and clear our energy by running our energy. So we're going to do that first, and then we're going to put up an avatar for global consciousness. We'll see how that goes. All right, so let's go ahead and put down a brand new grounding cord in present time as we send this grounding cord all the way to the center of the planet, making sure it's wide enough to accommodate all the energies that we're going to be releasing. And then we're going to send those roots down from our feet. And these roots are going to go deep down into our Mother Earth, all the way through to the other side of the planet. They're going to wrap around the entire Earth. And then from there, we're going to start bringing up that energy of abundance, the energy of the feminine, up through the feet and the ankles, up through the calves, clearing that extra adrenaline that collects in our calves when we're not getting up and doing too much. Maybe we're not moving as much as we used to. As we pull this earth energy up through the thighs, and then when it gets to the grounding cord, it's going to go down that grounding cord. All the way to the center of the planet. Excellent. Let's see if we have a worry circle. Ideally, we would not have a worry circle. It's out to the third layer, so that makes sense that this pushing down our power and not making us feel safe to be in our power, that's going to interfere with our freedom. We're just going to pull in all of that fear at our root, and we're just going to dump it down the grounding. Excellent. Now let's place our attention above our head. So we let all that grounding just run automatically and no effort. We're going to place our attention far above our crowns as we connect with pure source energy. As we bring pure source energy down through our creative rings, down through all of our desires that relate to having more personal freedom, more time freedom, more financial freedom. As we bring that pure source down into our crown, down into our sixth chakra, down into our throat. This is great. You guys have been doing your work, so we're just moving right along here. Down into our hearts, down into the solar plexus, where the energy is stopping. Let's go out to the front and back, out to the 15th layer, where that 1% is interfering with our freedom by holding down our power, making us afraid to step into what we know is our birthright. So we pull in this big stop sign, all this energy that makes us afraid to do what we desire. Pull that all the way into the core of our solar plexus. Let's send that down into that second chakra, down, spilling down the root. So now we're vertical in our alignment. Let's just breathe into the strength, into the power of this energy where we're connected way up high to pure source energy and rooted deeply into our Mother Earth. Now we're going to mix these two energies, the earth energy coming up through the legs with that pure source coming down the backside. We're going to mix those two energies at the root, and we're going to bring that up the front, real close to the spine. As it starts to leave the root and come up into the second chakra, it's stopping right there. Let's go out to the third layer. This is affecting our creations, our ability to create. So as we pull in this stop energy and the fears that make us afraid to step into our true freedom, to create what we desire, to create the life that we want to live, excellent. Let's bring this 50-50 mixture up the front, real close to the spine, through that second chakra, up into the solar plexus, up into the heart. So it's stopping at the heart. Let's go out to that 15th layer where that 1% is holding down our most vital resource as women, the infinite intelligence in our heart, that part of us that knows without having to explain anything, that part of us that's been, or that's gotten us killed lifetime after lifetime. As we just pull in all the judgments at our heart, all the places we make ourselves wrong, or maybe not doing enough. Maybe we think we're doing it wrong, we're not doing it the right way. So as we drop all those judgments down the grounding, we're going to bring this 50-50 mixture up through the heart, up into our throat, where it's stopping again. Let's go out to that third layer. So the voice has so many different energies that actually get processed here. It's more than just speaking up and releasing those fears of being heard. There's volume, that's important. There's projection, being able to project our voice across a room without yelling. There's also being able to telepath, sending those silent messages to people. There's maybe even to animals. Maybe we communicate silently with our animals. There's also that communication that happens between all of our cells so that our cells can function in a very healthy and intelligent way. This is all part of amplifying our telomeres so that we can replicate our cells more identically than declining, as the program will tell us. The program of aging is one that at a certain age, we're just going to decline, we're going to get arthritis, we're going to get this and that, and we're just going to keep declining. So that's another one of those programs. So here at the throat, okay, let's bring this 50-50 mixture up into that sixth chakra where it's stopping again, out to that third layer. So all of the beliefs that make us feel and believe that we are not free, that we are not sovereign beings with our own personal permission. And as we clear all of these limiting and lack mindsets, we start to access a realm where we access more of our infinite intelligence, our infinite knowing, our power to create, even with our words, that our words can be so powerful that we can just say, and so it is, and thus it is so. That's powerful words. There's so many powers that we have not accessed yet that we're just beginning to remember. It's not that we are not capable of these things, but this wet blanket that's been thrown over society, over humanity, that has put us in this sleepy slumber and made us forget all of our gifts, all of our knowing, all of our intuitions. And we're slowly remembering all of these gifts. And that's what those, or part of what those 360 senses are all about. Accessing more of our senses and our knowing and being able to connect the dots and see how things interrelate and connect together. This is what helps us to really access our true freedom. Freedom to create as we choose. So as we're bringing this 50-50 mixture up through that sixth chakra and the crown, and through all the rings above our head, even if you don't know exactly how many you have, this still works. And then as this energy is cascading down through all the layers of your aura and merging below your feet with your grounding cord, we're going to pay special attention to the third layer of our aura. So we're going to start at the top so we can access more of our power for everything, our power to choose, our power to have, be, and do with our life as we choose. So as this energy is just seeping down through this third layer slowly, it's like it's melting. All of this effort, pushing, chasing, forcing, all of that martyr energy that makes everything hard. We can stay busy, but we can stay busy with our next effortless action. It doesn't have to be hard at all. Okay, the third layer is now clear. Let's jump out to the 15th layer. We're going to start at the bottom We're going to lift this energy up and out through this layer. And so it looks like most of the energy is up around the sixth and seventh chakra, pushing down our personal permission. So we're going to lift the up and out of that layer. Let's ground our 20th layer, starting at the top, the most powerful layer of our energy field, of our aura, at least. And it's especially congested around the solar plexus, where that power is pushed down just a little bit. Excellent. And let's go to the 25th layer, starting at the bottom, as we lift these fear entities up and out through this layer. So this gets kind of heavy around the solar plexus and the heart, head. So we continue to just lift all of these fears up and out of this energy field, above your head, off planet. And then let's jump out to the 30th layer, also starting at the bottom, lifting these energies up through this layer, all these reptilian energies. And again, up by the crown is where they are mostly hanging out. And then it looks like Spirit wants us to clear that 40th layer. So we're going to start at the top. This is the layer of oneness. So there's some energy right around the head and the face. Let's clear that. As we come down through the throat and the heart. And this is really where true freedom lies, is when we can access and connect this layer all the way out to that 40th layer, so that we can actually experience oneness where there are no divisions, where there are no races and no religions and no politics and all of those things, rich and poor, and all of the ways we divide people and make better than, less than. And so in this oneness, there still is a great deal of diversity. There's still diversity in the oneness, and that's what makes it have a certain color and texture. Um, but it takes out the divisive parts of those differences, that one is better than the other or less than, and it doesn't create any divisions, all of this texture and differences in culture and the way we look and etc. That just adds to the fabric that makes it more interesting and diverse. Okay, great. So now let's clear our circle of reciprocity. So those upper four chakras and all of our rings. As we bring the energy that we want to give out into the world from our heart, the words we choose to speak, the beliefs we tend to or desire to put out into the world, and our personal permission, as we gather all of that and send it out that right arm as we give out into the world, putting those fingertips together as we allow ourselves to receive all the goodness and the blessings and the freedoms that we are choosing to create. We have to allow ourselves to have these freedoms. As we bring that up through the shoulder, through the front and back of the heart, back out that right arm again, creating a circle through the front and back of the throat and that sixth chakra and the crown and all the rings. Excellent. Let's see if there's anything else that wants to be cleared regarding your personal freedom. There's something in the sixth chakra. So, in the third layer of the sixth chakra, there's some doubts. There's some doubts that we can ever gain our freedom back. Like these powers on the planet feel so big, they feel so oppressive, they feel so out of control that it feels like things are just getting worse. And so, how could we possibly ever get our freedom back? And so, I just want to remind you as we're pulling these old beliefs in that are not part of this um, new emerging age that we're stepping into, is that when you take a meta view and you step back and you realize that we are we have rounded the curve of this very, very long 26,000 year cycle, ended in 2012, along with 5 smaller cycles, and that was also the end of one of those fifth cycles. So there was a huge, huge transition that happened in 2012. So when you think of the bigger scheme of things, a 5,000 year cycle, a 26,000 year cycle, it's going to take more than a couple years to round that turn and to start gaining that momentum. And so that's what's starting to happen now. As we've rounded that turn, now we're starting to get some momentum in that direction of the golden age, of this new realm of stepping into our greatness and moving back towards pure source. So at that apex of the 2012 was when humanity was, that was the furthest we'd ever been away from pure source energy. And so now we're winding back into the direction of pure source. And so all of the darkness that cannot sustain this new emerging age has to fall away. All of the structures that we've created, that man has created, that are supporting this structure of this shadow government, deep state, Illuminati, New World Order, blah, 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 blah. I refer to it as the 1%. All of those energies and everything that they've created, all the structures that they've created so that they can control humanity, are all starting to fall away. And fortunately, it's happening slow enough that we can adjust. We can adjust to these changes. And even the structure of time, which is a man-made construct was created to control man, so that at a certain time we would wake up, we would do our 9 to 5 job, we would have dinner at a specific time, a lunch at a specific time, we would go to bed at a specific time, and it was all sort of mapped out. But that's not how we were meant to live. And so we were meant to work more with the cycles of the moon and the sun and the seasons. And so as we start, even now, we don't need time to fall away for us to start paying attention to the cycles of the moon, how that interrelates with our own moon cycle, our menstrual cycle. And we can start tapping into these energies, waking up with the sun, going to sleep with when the sun sets, uh, moving along those lines. So there's lots of ways that we can start moving into the way man was designed to operate instead of waiting for everything to crumble. And so the idea that everything's crumbling can also create a lot of fear, can also create fear of the unknown. What's it going to mean? How's it all going to work out? So the more that we create this inner trust and knowing with the divine, the more or the less that we have to worry about how it's all going to work out. We trust that spirit is guiding us, is directing us. And the fact that all of you have come here to learn I don't know if I want to call it a superior way, it's an improved way, it's a better way than I've ever discovered before of how to amplify and accelerate our expansion to stay aligned in these high vibrations so that we can teach other people. And so today, that's why I wanted to work on this collective consciousness and see what happens. I'm always about trying new things. That's probably a lot of how I've gotten to where I am now is I'm not afraid to jump in the fire and try something new and see what happens um, and take it as it comes. And so I'm your fearless adventurer. I'm your fearless explorer. So let's see if there's anything else in you that wants to be cleared before we move on to the collective. Looks like that's good for now. And so as I'm measuring energies like fear, it's actually at 0. Anger is also at 0. And martyr is at 0. Um, yeah, those are the big ones. Fear, anger, martyr. Those are pretty much freedom destroyers. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to imagine an avatar in front of us or a hologram. It can look like a person so that we can run this energy through it. And this person is going to represent the collective consciousness. And before we get started, I want to measure a few things so that we can see where we are with this energy. So, first of all, so as I measure the energy of fear, it's at 95%. As I measure the energy of anger, it's like at 100%. 100% collective's pissed off. And this is how they can keep creating this 1% in reptilian energy. And it keeps the cycle and the circle running. Let's see, martyr. Martyr's at 50%. Those are the biggies. If I think of some others, we will release those. So let's go ahead and clear this, and then I'll measure these when we're done, and then we'll go and see if we can find some more places to release these. So we're going to put a grounding cord on this avatar that represents the collective consciousness. And notice what you notice. I'll share with you what I'm noticing. So I'm noticing that the grounding cord only goes down to about the knees and then it stops. So collectively, humanity is not grounded at all. So let's give everyone a grounding cord. As we bring this grounding cord of this avatar all the way down through the Earth's crust into the hollow of our planet Earth, wrapping around that bright central sun in the center of our earth. Whew. Okay. So now this avatar is grounded. So let's imagine some roots for the collective as we send roots down from the feet of each of the avatars that you're imagining. We send those roots all the way to the other side of the planet. And then let's wrap around the whole earth. I got this feeling of like the earth is feeling a little suffocated. We might need to do that if we have some time. We'll do the earth too. So let's bring this earth energy up through the legs of this avatar. So there's no earth energy coming up through these legs. So humanity is not feeling connected to the earth. So they don't feel safe. They're not grounded. They're just floating in all of this fear and worry and anger. So it's no wonder that this keeps getting perpetuated. Great. So we're going to bring this earth energy up through this avatar, through the ankles and the calves, through the knees, up through the thigh, and then down the grounding cord, back up the legs again. So this creates a nice, secure, safe energy for the collective. And then let's see where the worry circle is. You know there's a worry circle. All the way out to the 25th layer. So much fear on the planet. So let's pull in this fear, but we're going to pull when we get to the center of the root there, we're going to pull it up. We want all this fear to go off planet. As we pull this up through the central core, just keep pulling that energy into the core and up through that central core, all the way up above the head, sending that all the way off planet. Okay. There we go. No worry circle. I'm curious how many rings the collective consciousness has. 3. Oh, only 3 rings. That's like the minimum. That's like basic rings is at the 3. Um, okay, so yeah, they actually with this much fear and anger, you wouldn't want more rings than that because then it'll amplify their creations. So let's bring pure source down through these 3 rings. And let's place some intentions in these rings for global consciousness so that we can all experience true freedom and what that freedom means. Freedom to choose what's best for our bodies, freedom to choose what's best for our children and our families, and how we want to educate our children, freedom to eat what we desire to eat, freedom to live and travel where we'd like to travel to, freedom to earn money the way we'd like to, in a way that is joyful, and even potentially the freedom to not even have or need money, that everybody contributes in such a beautiful, loving way that no one is at lack, no one lacks anything, that we all contribute to each other in a way that is so abundant that no one suffers. And any other freedoms, freedom from the constraints of time, time management, time click, the clicking and ticking of that talk, the TikTok, that we can have time freedom. Mm. Or whatever freedoms that you think would be beneficial for humanity. So, as we bring Pure Source down through all of these intentions for global consciousness, that they wake up to their gifts and their true power, and they don't have to be oppressed, that suffering is optional, and that they can learn tools on how to master their energy, learn their greatest gifts and their true power. So as we're bringing Pure Source into the crown of this avatar, stopping right at the crown because humanity doesn't have much permission with the 1% in reptilian energies. Um, let's go out to that second layer because there's just fear of giving ourselves our own personal permission. Mhm. You could see that with the masks. How many people are afraid to give themselves permission to breathe? Just saying. So, as we bring Pure Source into the crown now, into that sixth chakra where it's stopping, out to that second layer, so more fear. So, there's a fear of failure, a fear of not doing enough. My little list so I can see what some of these other fears are. Mhm. Fear of displeasing others. That's another one. Fear of losing control and being controlled. Mhm. Fear of being vulnerable. As we bring this energy down through that sixth chakra, down into the throat, out to the third layer. So, this 1% energy, reptilian energies, are intent on silencing us and um, censoring the truth, pushing down what's true. This is seen especially on social media and making us afraid to question. You know, the whistleblowers end up getting killed. People who speak up, they end up at the bottom of the river. But this is not our first rodeo. We've been killed lots of times. As a matter of fact, while we're here at the throat, let's clear the collective consciousness, the throat here, this energy where everyone has been killed many, many, many times at the throat. There's so many ways you can be killed at the throat. Let's just help them drain some of this energy out of the throat so that more people will start speaking up about what they see and what they know to be true. So that all the darkness can be uncovered and the trash can be taken out. Okay, great. As we're bringing Pure Source down through the throat and down into the heart of the collective consciousness, so stopping at the heart, all the way out to that 15th layer where the 1% wants to push down the infinite intelligence of people. They think we are pretty dumb. And I think I think that the way that they've been able to pull it off is not so much that people are dumb, really, but more that they've been conditioned. They've been conditioned to obey and to follow the leaders. And they don't know that this shadow underbelly of this government has slithered in and is ruling and controlling behind the scenes. And that all of what we see out in front, all of the government stuff, and that's just the props. And so they don't realize, and we've trusted our medical community, we've trusted the government, we've trusted all these things, and now we're realizing that they can't be trusted because they're not running the show. This behind the scenes shadow government is running things. Okay, great. So at the heart, as we pull this energy down into the heart, out to that third layer. This is that energy where they want us to keep proving that we're worthy and deserving of that government check, or that we can um, buy groceries because we're wearing that thing on our face, or whatever reason. It's almost like we have to keep proving that we have earned the right to X, Y, and Z. There's a lot of proving energy and proving that we're not killing everybody by not wearing a mask. So, as we bring this energy down through the heart, down into the solar plexus of this avatar, let's go out to the third layer because everyone is feeling powerless and helpless. So, we're just going to pull all of this stop energy in. We're going to send this down the grounding. And excellent. As we bring pure source down through the solar plexus, down into that second chakra, spilling down the root, excellent. Let's bring that 50-50 mixture up the front, real close to the spine of this avatar of the collective consciousness. As we're bringing this up through the second chakra into the solar plexus, where it's stopping again, let's go out to that third layer. So this is probably something that could be cleared hourly until humanity starts re-owning their power. And once more and more of the collective consciousness starts owning their power and stepping into their greatness that is void of fear and anger, the beast is not going to have the fuel that they need. And so this is also going to, and not as a result of what we're doing here, it's just part of the trajectory of what's going to happen, even if we did nothing. As these powers feel less and less in control, they are going to amplify their desperation. And so this is to be expected, but the sooner and the faster humanity wakes up, the shorter that time period is going to be. So as we bring this energy from that solar plexus into all the way in 3, 2. There's a lot of rage at the solar plexus, and rightly so. There's a lot to be angry about. But it's mostly because people feel powerless. They don't know their power. And then once they start stepping into their power, they're not going to feel so angry because um, they're, they're going to realize that they're powerful and not powerless. go. As we're bringing this 50-50 mixture up through the solar plexus, up into the heart, nice, up into the throat, up into that sixth chakra, and the crown, and the rings. Let's let this energy cascade down through all the layers of the aura of the collective. Let's clear the third layer, all that effort and paralysis and tired energy and no motivation and depression. Just let that seep all the way down through this layer as it merges with the grounding. Okay, great. Wow, the rest of the aura is clear of the collective consciousness. Like maybe they don't even know about any of those layers. They're just stuck in that third layer. So let's clear the circle of reciprocity as we bring the energy from the rings. They have a couple more rings now. They have 5 rings. And we're going to bring the energy of those 5 rings now out that right arm. And then joining those fingertips together as they start allowing the receiving, allowing themselves to receive the freedom that's waiting for them. It's like the jail door is unlocked. They just have to push it open and walk out. So as that energy is coming through the front and back of the heart and the throat, 6 crown rings. Excellent. So let's measure fear now. 15%. Let's go down to the root of this avatar, out to that third layer, pulling in more of that fear. And for those of you who are inspired and want to help the collective on a much bigger scale, this is something that you can do, like after you run your energy. Do something for the collective, run an avatar for the collective, and just clear what you can. Even if you're not sure, doing something is better than doing nothing. Okay, so I think that 15%, I'm being told that just needs to stay there. That's like a big jump from no fear, from a lot of fear to like no fear. So 15% is that's a good place to bring them down to. And then anger, that's at 50%. Let's see if we can bring that down a little bit more. Let's go into that 6th chakra, out to that third layer, where they believe that anger is how you show power. It's not really, but it's kind of a big leap for most of humanity. But we're just clearing energies, and we'll see what happens. Let's go down to the root, also out to the third layer. And this is where a lot of people use anger to feel safe. They get angry instead of using their words and just expressing how they feel, setting boundaries. Okay, great. That's also at 15%. That's probably a good place for that to be as well. And let's bring the martyr energy down, or let's see where that is first. 15%. Let's go to the root, out to that third layer. Let's see if we can clear out more of that hard work, struggling, suffering energy. Sending that down the grounding. So that's 0 for the time being. So this is something that, it's just like for those of you who are in the 33-day meditation, you'll see how in the beginning there was tons and tons of stuff to clear, and little by little we're staying clearer and clearer, longer, less things to clear so we can get to other stuff. And that would be the same thing if we were to do this on a more regular basis. With the last few minutes, I was sort of inclined to want to also help the Earth, help our planet, who does have an incredibly high vibration at the center of the planet. But I've done this in the past, and I noticed, especially when I was working on the fires in Australia, that the elemental rain beings felt very held down, and there were some other energies, I couldn't remember which, but let's help planet Earth as well. So let's put up an avatar for the planet, for our Mother Earth, and so as we're grounding her to the center of the galaxy, which is just seems like that's the right place to ground her to. And isn't that funny? We're bringing her earth energy. I'm not sure how this works, but making sure her legs are clear. She has a worry circle, so it's congested out to the third layer, so she is feeling a little powerless. Let's pull this energy in all the way into the core, the root of this avatar. As we send that down to wherever she gets grounded to, the center of the galaxy. Okay, good. So planet Earth has 50 creative rings. Let's bring pure source down through these rings. She's got lots of things she wants to create for humanity. Fresh air, fresh water, an abundance of plant and animal life. Earth can regenerate itself so easily if we just get out of the way. So as we bring pure source down through these 50 rings into the crown, and the 6, and the 5, and the 4, so it's stopping right at the heart of our Mother Earth, out to the third layer. So a lot of judgments on the earth. And I think about the global warming, which is also it's conspiracy is not the word, but it's global warming is just a cycle that happens with the planet. It warms, it cools, and so they've been using this as another reason to try and control humanity and spray poisons in the air and lots of other things. You can do some research on that if you like. So we're just going to bring in all the judgments that have been put on the earth, and she feels bad, all the pollution in the oceans and the ways that they're just raping from all the trees and the Amazon and all the fires that are burning all the trees. All the pollution. So 5, 4. So as we're bringing pure source down to the heart and the solar plexus, second chakra, root, great. Let's bring this up the front through the second and the third. So right at that solar plexus, out to the third layer. She is feeling a little powerless. I'm just going to pull that powerlessness in at the solar plexus. So that earth feels more powerful. And see, they've also been manipulating um, the weather and, her natural cycles. And so she's feeling really kind of off, really not in her natural cycles. As we bring this 50-50 mixture up through the solar plexus, in the heart, where it's stopping, let's go out to that 15th layer where the 1% could give a shit about the earth. And we're just going to pull all those judgments and the way they just don't care. They have no respect for our earth. As we pull this 50-50 mixture up into the throat and the 6 and the crown and all 50 rings, cascading down through all the layers of the aura. Let's clear the third layer, all that powerless energy. Let's clear the 15th layer, starting at the bottom, lifting this 1% energy off and out of this planet, off to the center of the galaxy. And then the 30th layer, the reptilian energy in that 30th layer, sending this all the way up and out. And then let's clear her circle of reciprocity, all 50 rings and all upper 4 chakras out that right arm. In the left, she is ready to receive. Front and back of the heart, throat, 6 crown rings. Awesome. Whew, that was a lot. That was very cool too. If any of you want to share some feedback, you can go to the private Facebook group and we can maybe share your observations there, anything that came up for you or any questions you have about any of this. Feels really good to be able to, even if it's just to up it just a notch for a day, giving everybody a little bit of relief. And so this is something we can do on a regular basis if we feel so inclined. And if there's enough interest, and maybe we might notice a shift in the planet. Who knows? Over the next 3 days would be something we should watch out for. Keep an eye out. And in the meantime, let's keep asking. I wonder how. How does it get any better than this? And then stay in that blissful question of, I wonder. I wonder how our freedom gets freer, how it gets bigger, how it gets more fun and joyful and adventurous. I can't wait to find out. All right, I will see you wherever we join next. All right, maybe next month, maybe in 2 weeks on the Q&A. And until we meet again, sending much love and namaste.